Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Marky Picks. And today I got the NBA player props for you for Saturday, January 24th. Got 6 more plays lined up for you guys here today. So back to the old times, like, usual, when I post big amount of props. So hopefully there's something here that you guys are going to like. But recapping yesterday's day, you guys can see on the screen, it turned out to be a 3-pick because Denny Abdia got ruled out. But we went 0-3, and to be honest, I mean, you guys saw my reactions in the Discord yesterday. I mean, it was a slip of what could have been. It really was. Let's just take it right to Jaylen Brown here under 42.5 PRA. This was probably the most frustrating pick of the night. So this game went to double overtime. So I mean, right away, you probably already figure we're not going to get to the under that way. But Jaylen Brown was under 42 PRA through 4 quarters and the first overtime. He was not able to get over 42 PRA. He eventually got over it in double overtime, but in terms of this game, he was well under it, and well under it for majority of that game. NBA, when you have it under and the games go to overtime, you're likely not going to hit him. It's like I've had that happen to me a couple times this year when I've had it under and they eventually go over it in regulation. It's a very frustrating way to lose because you predict this game so perfectly, and then stuff like that happens. It's very frustrating. But we were right there on it, to be honest. I also had another pick for this game. I had a Discord prop, Michael Porter Jr., under 33.5 PRA. He was also under his PRA in regulation. Eventually went over it in overtime. So this game really just pissed me to flip off. It really did. We had this game so perfectly predicted, and overtime just absolutely killed us. Killed us very bad. So, frustrating game there in total. And then we got Jared Allen over 25.5 PRA. He came up just short of 24. And this is another one that should have hit. It really should have. But if you guys listened to my analysis yesterday, I said this would be an Allen or a Mobley day. It turned out to be a Mobley day. Mobley absolutely dominated this game. He had like 30 points, like 10 plus rebounds, So, I knew it was going to be one of those two were going to go off. I thought it was a little bit more of an Allen day. Allen still had a pretty strong day. Finished with 15 points, 9 rebounds. He didn't get any assists in there, which is I figured he would probably get one, but he didn't. But he should have got a double-double in this game. There's no reason he shouldn't have. And if you guys also listen to my analysis, I said to take his over 8.5 rebounds. That would have hit. Also the data trends supported the over 8.5 rebounds. I just thought he would have a little bit more of an all-around day. He kind of had an average night, and that's, right on the line, 24, just to buck it off there. But he had 22 PRA entering the fourth quarter. So I was like, okay, he should be able to get 4 PRA in the fourth quarter, but he just, that's another thing, like I said in my analysis yesterday, his minutes are kind of wonky sometimes. They aren't really stable. So he didn't really play a majority of that fourth quarter. He started like the first 4 minutes, then he rested and he came back in with like 3 minutes to go. So, his minutes are kind of, not stable. It's also a risk. So, I mean, it was one of those that should have hit, to be honest, though, even with all that, factored in. He had a really strong third quarter, and I was like, okay, he's looking good to go over, but just couldn't get there, unfortunately. And then we got Bobby Portis, over 13.5 points. He was my favorite pick of the night. And, everybody was kind of, I think worried about this pick. But they really shouldn't have been worried. I mean, I know it didn't hit, but, this is a guy that takes a lot of shots. And he took a lot of shots in this game. He went 4 for 12. That was the main issue here for not getting over 13.5 points. He took a heck of a lot of shots. He just missed a whole lot of them. And he missed a lot of easy ones that he usually always makes. So another frustrating one. Kind of sums up how the night which went overall. Just everything was just so bad. So bad. Very frustrating. But another one to Bobby Portis. He got the attempts. He honestly should have hit him. Very much should have. He came alive there a little bit later in this game. But it was just not enough. This game almost went to overtime. Of course, this one doesn't go to overtime. But the one we had the unders on, that goes to double overtime. So very frustrating yesterday. One of those nights that just nothing seemed to went our way. But we were right there, though. If you guys see how these ended up, we were right on the lines. Right on the lines. Just couldn't get any of them to go in our favor. So, We got 6 more props lined up here for today, so I'm excited to get into them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the 6 props that I got for you guys here today. So with the first player prop here for Saturday, we're going to be targeting Steph Curry over 37.5 PRA. Got him projected at 43.6. So first matchup here, we got the Warriors taking on the Timberwolves here. And I think this is going to be a really good game to watch. The Timberwolves are favored by 6.5 points, 234.5 point total. So it's a pretty solid game environment here in terms of pace and scoring. And I really do think that's going to be the case here. And, of course, the big injury news here for Steph Curry is around him. No Jimmy Butler, of course, now for the rest of the season. Tore his ACL, so he will be gone for the season. So the Warriors are going to have to adapt. And, Steph Curry's going to have to really step up even more than he used to in this role. So, just over his last 6 games against the Timberwolves, you guys can see on the screen, he's gone over it in 4 out of 6 of those games. And, I see it as a spot where he's going to have more usage now with no Jimmy Butler out there. It's probably going to be a little bit more tougher for him to score because, the Timberwolves probably will throw, more double teams at him. But I think if they do that, that's going to open up some assist chances for sure. And also some free throw opportunities because I do think Curry can get to the free throw line a good amount in this game. Timberwolves do foul a lot. And Curry, he does tend to get to the free throw line a good amount. So, I think Curry over 37.5 is pretty reasonable here. If you guys just want to take his flat out points, I don't hate that either. 27.5, he should be able to get around 30 in this game. The only concern that I have here is the 3-point shot. The Timberwolves don't really give up a ton of them. And, Curry's the best 3-point shooter in history of the NBA. So, can Curry hit some 3 balls in this game? I think he will hit, at least, 3 or 4 of them at least. That's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think 37.5, with this more usage role that Curry's going to be in for this game, it should be a very competitive game as well. I think Curry's going to have to score to keep the Warriors in this game if the Warriors want to have a chance to win. So I think Curry does come to play here. I think he has a pretty strong game. And, just last game against the Mavericks, he went for 43 PRA. So, yeah, it was a better matchup against the Mavericks, but he was still a guy that took a lot of shots. He just got to make the shots in this game. That's all we're worried about. And I think he will. Curry over 37.5. It's a good start to the slip here. Jumping into pick number 2, we're going to be targeting Miles Bridges more than 16.5 points. Got him projected at 20.6. So here we go once again. We got the Hornets taking on the Wizards, and you guys know every time I see the Wizards on a slate, we're usually taking the over on the other side, and here we are once again doing that same thing. So the spread for this game is the Hornets are 10.5 point favorites, 232.5 point total. So some blowout risk involved here. The Hornets I think the Hornets are probably the biggest favorites they've been all year, 10.5. But this is a Hornets team that's playing really, really good basketball right now. Some of the best basketball in the NBA right now they are playing, and they are really, pretty much healthy now. So this is a scary Hornets team. I am a really big fan of this Hornets team. I like some of their guys, like some of the rotational pieces. They're going to be a scary team to play in the playoffs for sure. Nobody's going to want to face this team in the playoffs. Just with their foursome of Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, Con Knipple, and LaMelo Ball, that foursome can give anybody some trouble. So, and you got Colin Sexton coming off the bench. So this is a scary Hornets team. And in this matchup here, I'm taking Miles Bridges over his points. We've been taking Miles Bridges a lot this year, mainly on his overs. It's pretty much 50-50. We've been right on him, been wrong on him sometimes. He should smash 16.5 points here. This is just a way too easy line here. I really don't understand why it's 16.5. You guys can see what he's done to the Wizards over his last 6 games. He's gone over it in 4 of the 6 of them. And you guys can see he just missed it in that one game. So, he's a pretty consistent player against the Wizards. As long as this game stays competitive, I think it does actually. I think the Wizards keep this game close, probably for 3.5 quarters. I think the Hornets will blow them away, in the final minutes. But I do think the Wizards keep this game close enough where Miles Bridges is going to have to play his regular amount of minutes. He should see, 30 plus minutes easily in this game. And, 16.5 points is well within his striking distance. So, really love this pick a lot. Smash over against the Wizards anytime we can take it. So, we're taking it here once again. Miles Bridges over 16.5 points. Jumping into pick number 3, we're going to be targeting Kyle Filipowski under 22.5 PRA. Got him at 17.9. So, we got the Jazz taking on the Heat here. And this pick is solely hinging on one piece of information, and that is the injury status of Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen is currently questionable for this game. I think this line is kind of in that middle zone of if Markkanen's going to play. I think this line, if Markkanen gets rolled in, this line should drop to about 20.5, I believe. If this line, if Markkanen gets rolled out, I believe this line jumps to like 23, 24.5. So this it's kind of in the middle ground, this line. I'm going to take the under here. I think Markkanen does play. So that's what we're hinging on here. But even if Markkanen doesn't play, I'm still not going to hate it. It's just not going to be the greatest edge that we have anymore because I'm sure my projection on him would go up in that case. But anyway, the spread for this game is the Heat, favored by 6.5 right now. 245.5 point total. So it's the biggest total of the slate. They're expecting a lot of pace here, and it's a great scoring environment. So it is a little bit of a risk. But, I mean, you guys can see on this season, Filipowski really hasn't been doing much anyway. I mean, over his last 5 games, he has been on a little bit of a heater. He's gone over it in 3 out of the 5 of them. He's played a little bit more minutes. He's starting to play a little bit better. But, I mean, as long as Markkanen plays in this game, Filipowski should only see around 20 to 22 minutes, I believe. But if Markkanen's out, Filipowski probably might see up to 30. So this is hinging solely on the status of Lauri Markkanen, on if I'm really, really going to love this pick or I'm really, really not going to love this pick. So we'll see how the injury status turns out. But as of right now, I have Markkanen rolled in, so that means I'm taking Filipowski under 22.5 PRA. Jumping into pick number 4, we're going to be targeting Derek White under 30.5 PRA. Got him at 26.5. So we got the Celtics taking on the Bulls here. The Bulls are 1.5 point favorites, 229.5 point total. So I think this game actually does play pretty high scoring and high paced. And I'm still taking Derek White on the under here. Just because Derek White hasn't been a guy this year that has been scoring the ball pretty consistently. He really hasn't. And you guys can see over his last 5 games against the Bulls, he's gone under in all 5 of them. So he doesn't like the Bulls very, very much. And on the season, he's gone under it a lot as well. So he's just not been the highest scoring guy this year. So 30.5, it's a great environment. I'll give him that. The environment looks great for this game in terms of scoring. But in terms of the season, and the season that Derek White's been having, I don't know if he's going to break out of his scoring slump in this game, or he's just going to continue to struggle. I think he continues to struggle in this environment. But, I mean, this is if there was any game this year that Derek White was going to have a very, very strong scoring game, it would be this one. So there is some risk. It's probably the riskiest pick of the slip. Also, the Celtics played a back-to-back yesterday, and Derek White didn't play in that game. So Derek White might be leaned on more to have a little bit more, volume. So we'll see how this turns out. It is my riskiest pick of the day, but, I'm going to rock with it. I think I'm going to rock with the trends here in my projections. So, yeah, Derek White on 30.5 PRA. It's probably not my favorite, but we're going to see how it plays out. Jumping into pick number 5, we're going to be targeting DeAndre Ayton, more than 20.5 PRA. Got him at 22.6. So we got the Lakers taking on the Mavericks here. Some interesting, revenge narratives on the line in this game. So the spread for this game is the Lakers are 3.5 point favorites, 232.5 point total. So, of course, last year's big trade was Luka Doncic traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. And, here we go. Luka Doncic facing his former team here once again. So, yeah, this is a spot here where I'm going to take Ayton. I know probably everybody's going to be taking Luka in this kind of spot, but this is a very gettable line for Ayton. It really is. It probably also is a little bit risky about his minutes situation. He got hurt a couple games ago, and he didn't come back in that game. And just last game against the Clippers, he only played 21 minutes. I don't know if he's just going to be stuck around the 20-minute mark in this game. Maybe he plays 24, 25. That's what I have him projected for here. I got him projected to play, I think, 25 minutes here. And my projection has him to go slightly over, but I still think this is a gettable line for Ayton. I really do. He's also had very good success at this line against the Mavericks over his last 5 games. He's gone over it in 4 out of the 5. So, he does pretty well against the Mavericks. The only question that I have around this pick is his minute stability. I don't see why he wouldn't play, in the 25-minute range here. I don't expect him to play 30. Maybe he only plays 20, but even if he does only play 20, he still should get to this line. He really should. It might be a little bit of a risk, but, I think this is a kind of a game where, the Mavericks are probably going to double team Luka any chance they get. And DeAndre Ayton's going to be in there to pick and roll paint area, and I think DeAndre Ayton has a pretty big scoring game. He also should be able to grab some rebounds. So if you guys just want to take his points over, I don't hate that shout. But I'm going to take his combo stat. I always like taking combo stats anyway. It's usually the stat that I love to go to, just because there's multiple ways guys can get there to the over and under, stuff like that. So, I'm going to take DeAndre Ayton over 20.5. Probably a little bit of a risk, but it's a risk that I'm going to take here. I think it's too low of a line for Ayton, so I'm going to take advantage of it right here. So before I get to the last pick for you guys, real quick, drop a like on this video. You guys have been killing these videos recently. We've been on a little bit of a teeter-totter over the last couple days. We've been hot, and then we've been cold. We've been hot, we've been cold. So playing the trends, today should be hot. So the person that's going to bring this home is going to be Paul George, more than 22.5 PRA. Got him projected for 24.2. So we got the 76ers taking on the Knicks here, and I am absolutely stoked for this matchup. I think this is probably going to be the game of the night in the NBA. Here we go once again. The 76ers, I'm going to say it like every video because it just seems like it's every video. But the Knicks are 1.5 point favorites, 229.5 point total. So again, 76ers in a 1.5 spread matchup once again. And amazing. Absolutely amazing work here. 76ers, every game is 1.5 point spread. So, just chalk up another 1.5 point spread for the 76ers in this game. And, I mean, they're expecting this game to be coming down to the wire, and it honestly should. I don't see why it wouldn't. There's also some big injury news in this game for the Knicks side of things. Karl Anthony Towns is questionable, so there's a chance that Towns won't play. Paul George is always questionable, but he's actually listed as probable on the injury report, so I expect him to play here today. So, for this pick here, 22.5 ERA for Paul George. He's been on my do not bet list because he screwed up one of our picks here, a couple weeks ago, which really sucked. So, taking him off the do not bet list here for this game. We're going to see if he can rewrite some of his wrongs from that pick. 22.5 ERA in this matchup. Should be very competitive. Could go to overtime, just like last game went to overtime. Any game the 76ers play has the potential to go to overtime. So, I see it as a spot here where it's going to be very, very competitive. I do expect the scoring to be there as well. I think both these teams can get into the 120 range. Paul George, he's been very consistent against the Knicks in his career, really. Over his last 5 games, he's gone over it in 4 out of the 5. Now, if you guys want another angle on this prop, I really do love Paul George 8 rebounds and assist line. I'll take that over. The data actually supports that even more because Paul George has gone over 8 rebounds and assists against the Knicks, 5 straight times. So the data points a little bit stronger there, and I honestly think he probably just ties the line at 8 at least. But there's definitely a chance he gets to 9. So that prop absolutely looks phenomenal. But I'm going to take his PRA here. I think Paul George can get a little bit scoring involved here. I think they might need him to score a little bit more because the Knicks do have some depth at the center position. As long as Karl Anthony Towns plays, I think Embiid's going to have a little bit more of a tougher time scoring. So I think Paul George might be relied upon more to score in this game. He just got to make the shots. I think Paul George will get the looks. He just got to make them. I think he does. We're taking his over 22.5, and that's the NBA player props I got for you guys here today. 6 props here today, back to the old usual 6 props. So hopefully we come through here with a very profitable day. Stay tuned for more picks in the Discord. I drop free picks every single day in there as well. If you guys want some more angles, more props here for today, and you get some more of my content through the Discord. So, that's it for this one, guys. Stay tuned for the NFL tomorrow. Got another video coming out for that. The 2 games for the conference championship games for the NFL, and then we got the Super Bowl. So, a couple more football videos left here for the channel here until next year. So, stay tuned for that. But, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.